Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 10. We finally made it to episode 10 of the Diverse Dialogues podcast. I'm Mateo.
And I'm Ruben.
And for today's podcast, also, I should probably say, sorry for the background noise, the landscaper's outside, so hopefully it doesn't pick it up that much, but we are going to be talking about, since it's the 10th episode, today's episode is all going to be about the friend group, all of us together. But before that, let's just get right into our questions and go from there. So I'll start first. First question for me. Do you think the friend group would get larger over time, like more members?
I think it could be possible.
I want to say maybe one or two, maybe three more members, if anything.
I'd say probably two, I guess. Two more. Because what's meant? We're the diverse society, we got race, other social groups and all that. So I guess all we're missing is maybe a Middle Eastern dude.
Yeah, like
Arabic or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Unless we really want to push it and have a transgender person in there too.
Yeah, we could go in there. Yeah, that direction.
But yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
As long as you're good at acting and you're just a guy that's just very chill, then.
Or girl. Okay.
That too.
Yeah, we cannot discriminate.
It's. Sorry, I'm so used to just saying that, so.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
But yeah, it's whoever you are, no matter guy or girl, or whatever they, them, at this point.
Yeah, non-binary, it's totally cool. Gender fluid, all that's fine.
Just don't be an asshole. That's literally it. Just don't be an asshole.
Yeah, especially on your first day.
Yeah.
Over time, if we know you for a year, yeah, you can be an asshole. But if it's your first week, we're probably gonna kick you out.
Yep. Which we haven't done yet, but.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Alright, my question. What is the funniest moment that has happened in this group? And I'm going to go first because I'm pretty sure I've already said it twice at this point, so I'm going to say it for the third time. The funniest moment in this group was the Tom Google Doc incident, which, once again, unfortunately will not be documented on YouTube. But, let's see here. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That was literally, at the time, the hardest I have ever laughed in the past 2 years at that moment. Because, what's it? So, I've already explained the story a bunch of times, but what's it? We were playing that one indie game, aka Overwatch, and Tom claimed that he was an expert in Overwatch, even though Jordan has been playing Overwatch since day one, I think.
But Tom takes it to the more competitive esports level, so...
Yeah, because Tom's in an actual esports team. So, what's it? So naturally, he claimed that he knew every nook and cranny in Overwatch, even though there are times even Mateo has corrected him, such as you can destroy Lifeweaver tree. Tom was like, "What? That you can do that?" So naturally we're like, I don't know if this dude actually knows what he's talking about playing Overwatch. I honestly don't remember how it was brought up. Oh no, it was first it was when he claimed that Winston counters D.Va.
Yeah, that was a whole thing that happened.
Yeah, and Jordan, who's played since day one, was like, Winston does not counter D.Va. And
You're stupid.
Yeah. And I don't know how it was brought up, but I think Tom was just like, no, trust me, bro. I wrote an entire Google Doc on how to play Overwatch and stuff. And we're like, wait, what? And Tom puts this Google Doc in the Discord chat, and it's about 10 pages or something, which looks like it was written by ChatGPT, by the way, based on the format. And after seeing all that shit, Tom, Jordan and Glenn were just spamming the chat with emojis of nerd or nerd gifs as well. What's it?
And then that became a running joke that I think we kind of just stopped doing after a while, but...
Yeah. And Tom, if you're for whatever reason listening to this, let's be real, even you wanted it to be posted because you claimed, or before, the audio footage got corrupted, you're like, oh, you should title the video Top 500 Player Gets Trolled by Noobs.
So yeah, you were on board, almost.
Yeah, but sadly, I've said this before, audio got corrupted, so no one will ever know about it.
But at the same time, though, there were a lot of things that were said in that probably would have gotten us completely destroyed on the internet. So, partially, there's a reason why it was good that it was left in the past.
But yeah, that moment, I was laughing so hard Yeah, it was probably the hardest I laughed 2 years before that incident.
For me personally, there are so many moments that I could think of right now. But just to save some time, I'm gonna go with something that's very, very recent. And lately, and it kind of ties into a question that will be in later. For whatever reason, Landon just so happens to just fit in so many categories that we had decided to make a list, or at least Ruben at the time made a list way beforehand. But then we made a completely new one of all the characters that just associates with Landon, or Landon associates with them personally. And that fucking list went down to like over 100 fucking characters.
Yeah.
And the entire time, we just kept adding more and more characters, and we were just dying of laughter the entire time as we just keep on like creating new like characters. Like every time we got like a good one, it just led to like a continuous laugh. And Jesus, it was like of recently, that's one of the more funnier moments that have happened.
Yeah, like if y'all like compare yourself to like random fictional characters, I dare you to reach the triple digits.
But dude, yeah, we were fucking dying. Question number 2. How long have each of you guys known each other? So basically, with me and Ruben, how long have we known each of the members? So I'll start first. Jordan and I have met the longest. Out of all the group, he's the one I've known for the longest since basically like elementary school, so like first or second grade. So basically over 10 years, which definitely solidifies our friendship for a fact. And then next up is Ruben, which we've met in somewhere in between.
We met in 6th grade, but like we didn't really like talk to each other, because like we were in a group project, but you know, we're just like, okay, let's get this done over with.
Yeah.
But then in 7th grade, that's like when we actually became friends.
Yeah, and 8th grade is when we actually we fully cemented. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think we actually passed the 7-year mark actually.
Yeah. Wait. I mean, when we solidified it was like 2017 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's over 7 years.
7 years, yeah. So that and apparently that's like the amount of years that it takes to be like, yeah, you're now like a from the trustworthiness of Google. That's the amount of years that it takes to like really solidify a friendship. Then I'm pretty much gonna count Landon, technically Glenn and Montana and Landon at the same time in high school. So that's like
basically freshman year.
Yeah, so like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. And then Tom, I knew Tom for like the longest time, like I said, also in elementary school, but we only just knew each other, and that's about it. It wasn't until graduation when I actually started talking to him and actually getting to know him. He's like, oh yeah, this is a cool dude. So, and then Lulu is last, and we're only just about to reach 1 year of being friends, which literally will be like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, yeah, that's his story. As for me, technically I met Tom first, because we actually talked to each other back in middle school in 6th grade. Me and him, we were talking about like Terraria and stuff like that. And then it was you, but like I said, we technically talked to each other, but like just didn't really get to know each other. Because the first time we interacted was during a science group project, but when you put 2 introverts in a group project, it's usually something along the lines of, hey, I have an idea, how about you put this here? And then the other person's like, yeah, sure, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because
or barely any talking at all at that point.
Yeah, because our third member, we both actually like knew each other. Not gonna say who it is, but he was sick, so he had to leave early, so it was just me and Mateo. But yeah, we got the project done, we were just like, okay, alright, that's it. And then 7th grade, we started talking to each other more, and then 8th grade solidified, just as he said. And like I said, or like he said, Landon, Montana, and Glenn met all 3 of them at the same. I guess Jordan as well, because I didn't know Jordan.
Oh yeah, so
wait, no, I actually met Jordan in 8th grade when you invited me to your birthday party.
Yes.
But we didn't really talk to each other back then.
Yeah. Definitely a big contrast to what today is now.
Yeah. Although I did get to know him better, same time as Landon Glenn in Montana.
Mhm.
Let's admit, and then Lulu, which, yeah, about a year at this point,
Or close to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
All right, now talking about something recent. Let's admit. My second question is, what fictional character best represents each member, whether it's looks or personality, or in one person's case, voice? Anyways.
oh, I just got what you meant by that.
Okay, so as Mateo mentioned earlier, we were going through like random fictional characters that represents Landon, and then for a bit I was like, how about we just do that for us as well?
Make it fair.
Honestly, I didn't really like solidify Mateo's. Either Peppino from Pizza Tower or Mario, just because he's Italian.
Yeah, so inventive.
Or Reptile, because that's basically his icon from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Let's see here. For me, I mean, I already made a list at this point. I even made a TikTok about it. But I think the one that best solidifies me is that one emo kid from Horton Hears a Who. And it's bad when an employee at a Funko store even says I look like that kid.
Oh my god, it was so fucking random, but it was like, yep, all right, that's it.
Yeah. At this point, I just accepted it because it's too funny. What's meant? Glenn, probably Venom. I mean, that's pretty obvious. His username's literally We Are Glenham. So
Yeah, it's like,
Venom fits.
but even though his icon right now is Ultron, which
Ultron also fits as well.
true, yeah.
Montana, I mean, for the longest time, he was just Shaggy. Like, literally just give him a green shirt and brown pants. He's literally Shaggy.
Yeah.
Other than that, what other character suits him?
That one cousin Stanley, like that.
Oh, yeah.
From SpongeBob.
From SpongeBob. Yeah. And Landon...
Or Slender Man, by the way, for...
Oh, yeah, Slender Man. That's another one. Landon, we're not even going to go through all that, but one of some of my favorites, Batman, Peacemaker, Chucky. Yeah, I'll just go with those for now. At least mine. Who do you see Landon as? Because we've been here all day making a 100 characters worth of people Landon relate to.
I mean, my personal favorite is just Chuckle, which is an inside joke, but...
No, well, it's basically Chucky.
Yeah. Just Jordan misspoke.
Speaking of Jordan,
Bubble Bass.
Bubble Bass. Okay.
Sorry, not sorry, Jordan.
Yeah, Carlos from Resident Evil, even though I'm pretty sure he hasn't actually played Resident Evil.
Virgil. He wants to be that.
Virgil, Bucky, Malga from that one indie game, Wesker.
But not Bubble Bass. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Tom. I'm going to try not to go that route. Damn, I actually don't know for Tom.
I guess just the nerd emoji.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just go with that. The nerd
just
emoji
keep
because
it safe.
I don't want to say other things. And Lulu, that one drilling character from that one indie game, the same one that Malga's from. I forgot that character's name.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they were a cool character, I'm pretty sure I would have remembered them, but I don't know. It's just drawing a blank, man. I can't remember them.
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, like, if that character was from a cool game, then maybe I would have remembered their name, but so far I don't. I don't know, man.
Or you could go for Vanellope Von Sweets from Wreck-It Ralph, because that's a more memorable character, so...
Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, anything's more memorable than that one indie game.
Yeah, true. All right, and that's it for the questions. Now moving on to the lore. All right, so how this will work is I'm going to start off with my perspective, and then we'll have Ruben tell his perspective about basically the whole story from each member who I've known for the longest, and then go to basically what's going on right now to recent times. So for me personally, this dates back all the way to elementary school. And I'm only going to go specifically to the people in this friend group. I'm not going to talk about anybody else, but specifically this friend group. So this dates back all the way to elementary school, first or second grade. That's basically my memory, and I'm trying to remember all of this, but after watching so many YouTube, it technically kills your brain. And basically, from what I remember, me and Jordan got known each other because of similar interests. Like we both loved Sonic, we both liked a lot of the same stuff, and he was just hanging out with our little friend group that I had at the time with my other group of friends, and also a bully. And you know, it's complicated like that in freaking elementary school. And you know, we got to know each other more, and we got to hang out like outside of the school a lot more because our parents knew each other, and you know, just basically got to know each other afterwards, and you know, hang out afterwards. And but like I said, it's been a while, so I'm not 110% sure how we technically met. But all I know is that we were basically very, very young, and we were in elementary school, but basically, Jordan and I didn't necessarily get to be super close friends up until like in recent times. Because the reason why I say that was because around fifth or fourth grade, he moved, and he had moved to like a different city, but not so far away though that it wouldn't. Basically, he moved all the way down like 30 minutes away to where I live currently, and that definitely affected our way of hanging out. And of course, but even despite that, we still managed to have sleepovers back then, and still be able to hang out and go to special occasions like like birthdays and stuff like that. And we still managed to stay connected for a very, very long time. And it's not until recently when we actually, start getting in calls more often, actually hanging out more, which is something that I'm pretty sure he would have wanted to have a lot earlier, but I was busy and he was probably busy. Me busy with school, and then just him busy with school and just trash talking to people in Call of Duty or some shit. I don't know. Or Overwatch. Or, wait, no. What was that name? Was it Overwatch? I don't remember.
Yeah, besides that game didn't exist since like 2016.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like basically around like middle school and then like onward. Yeah. That's basically what he was playing. So yeah, then we're fast forward over to middle school, where I'm not trying to get too sappy about this. So at the time I was a loner, as many people are, and middle school can either go two ways to many people. It can either be some of the worst years of your life or some of the years of your life. There's no in between. And to me, it was definitely the first option. And to the point where I almost had no friends at all at that time. So that's basically where I'm going to leave it off at, because if I go any deeper, it's going to get a lot, like, way too personal. And Ruben, you can also correct me if I say anything wrong about like if I misinterpret things, about what I've done. So yeah, 6th grade. And I remember seeing like Ruben in passing a couple of times, because when you're a kid that just wears all black, it's like you definitely stand out a little bit more. And then and just overall, it's like that guy was just like and then just moving on.
Seems about right. Because
here's the thing about introverts, right? We are definitely both introverts. I guess I could say I'm definitely a lot more social than I'm definitely a lot more social than I was back in middle school. But at the time, and if you guys are like in a situation where you feel like you cannot make friends, or you guys are having a hard time like dealing with friends, here's something. If two introverts that probably do not want to have anything to do with being with other people end up becoming great friends to this day, anything is possible. So that's your little bit of motivation. And I think I'm not like, he said something about like a science project. I don't remember that at all, but yeah, that's basically, I think that's what he says is our first interaction. And
and like I mentioned earlier, when you put two introverts in a group project for school, it's going to be something along the lines of, hey, yo, what about this right here? Oh, yeah, I agree with that. You should put that there. I don't even remember if we, had a good grade on that project.
But at least but it was basically two introverts that just wanted to make sure that the homework was done. So I think that was like, all right, at least this guy was like, he wants to get the shit done.
Yeah, it was probably something like, you get graded whether you do it or not, but, I don't know if we had to be precise with it. At least we actually had the balls to finish it.
I know. And then I think we jump into 7th grade, and I then became friends with this one person. I'm not gonna say his name, and then he then introduces me to Ruben, and we get into like small conversations on like what we like or like all that stuff.
I think Geometry Dash was like
Yeah, that was like the
one of
first
topics.
bit. Yeah, and Dashy probably too.
I think Dash was more towards 8th grade.
True. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Yeah.
Pokemon probably. I think that's
Probably. Yeah. And you know, at the time, I'm just like, yeah, he's like, I mean, I'm like, probably back then I was just like, I mean, this guy's cool, but I would probably never see him like be a friend of mine. That age, like milk. But yeah, it wasn't until 7th grade in social studies class with a teacher that was a fun teacher, might I add. And since we technically knew each other, we basically, you know, became partners in almost anything because it was supposed to be like, you know, assign yourself with somebody and then just work on the assignment. And like I said, at the time, I was a loner. I was somewhat depressed, and I was just like, so I was just mainly focused on my work. So I was just like, all right, I'll just work with this guy. He's the most tolerable out of all the other students in this freaking school. And I'm not sure if Ruben was intentionally doing this, but he was just, you know, being a goofball in the classroom to himself and to me. And at that time, you know, he was just I think he was like trying to be a class clown, but every time that he did,
Oh yeah.
every time that he did, he would just get ashamed on by the entire class.
Yeah, this was one out of my 54 phases in my life.
And like I said, I don't know if he was intentionally doing this, but he legit was making someone who was dealing with a lot back then, like, you know, chuckle a little bit and actually like laugh. So I was actually starting to you know, find this guy actually a lot more cooler. That's English, right? Yeah. A lot cooler than I thought, and you know, and then he would just tell stories and then show other like he at the time had like 7 different like characters that he did back then, and like for instance, when we were playing Mortal Kombat, he would like exit the room and then change it to a completely different character.
Oh no, that was high school.
Oh, is it? Okay, well, that's what I mean, though. And then, yeah, we definitely became close because of that class, because we would always be, like, partners in that class. And then I think after that, we started to, like, started seeing each other more, but mainly because of that one friend. And then after when that one friend just basically just dipped, it was just us two mostly, and then we were just like, yeah, hey, what's up? And then, yo, check out this thing. It's like, oh, yeah, that's cool.
I think 8th grade was like when we talked more about Dashy.
Yeah, but it wasn't until 8th grade when we actually were like, you know, wanting to, like, you know, associate each other more and, like, talk to each other more. Dashy, like Geometry Dash still, probably then, and I think at that point, it was like, I remember you saying, like, I was asking, like, hey, do you want to be able to, like, hang out outside of school sometime? He's like, nah, my parents don't allow me to hang out with people. I remember that. And then not that long after, like, probably later on in the year, it's like, oh, you want to hang out? It's like, oh, yeah, sure. It's like, we'll go over to your house, or, like, go to the, like, I think it was the birthday party first. And then it became, like, you hanging out at my place more often.
Yeah.
But it was like...
It was freshman year. I was, like, going to your house.
Yeah. And it was rare at the time for Ruben to show up in my house, but now.
Yeah, 8th grade, I just went to your birthday party at Sky Zone. And yeah, that was pretty much
that was it at the time.
And then freshman year, I started coming to your house more often.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so speaking of freshman year, jumping over to high school. And at that point, me and Ruben were more like good, like, I would not say, decent friends. Like, we at least knew each other, and we were like, yeah, we would like... like I said, we could tolerate each other.
Yeah.
And and we had a lot of the same classes too, so that also was like, okay, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
And that made us meet Landon first. I remember it was Landon next.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, you know, Landon, we basically bonded each other because of Marvel. And then there was this one other guy that also was friends with Landon that we later on despised hanging out with because of how awkward he was.
Oh, I remember who you're talking about.
Yeah, and also, and it wasn't like an awkward, like, oh, I don't mean him like anything like wrong about him. Like, he was just like, he did not care about us or like what we cared about at the time, which was Mortal Kombat 11, which we'll get into. And he was just like getting us in trouble in with his very bad language problem, like talking bad basically, like cussing. God,
like I have a potty mouth, but I can at least control myself when I'm outside.
Yeah.
Well, at least some moments. But yeah, he was just a really awkward guy.
Yeah. And even though that we're awkward, it's like, I mean, he was on another level, but also not in a good way. But then after that time, Landon then moved from PE to wrestling. So at that point, it was like, all right, no, I mean, at that point we were like starting to know each other, but like it wasn't. But then he left, so it didn't really go much from there. And then me and Ruben, like I said, we're almost all the time partners in PE, which led to the pretty much the term PE duo.
Oh yeah.
And
that's literally our group chat on Discord, by the way.
Yep. and then I think next up is Glenn. I mean, I think we all knew Montana because he was such a social butterfly at the time that everyone knew about him.
Everyone and their grandma knew who Montana was.
And but we never really became friends with him because I think it's apparent and it's obvious that when you have a friend who when two introverts look at someone who's extrovert, they're just like, Jesus, that's God, he's annoying. And then we meet Glenn because I think Glenn had said in previous times that like he heard us talking about Marvel and like heard us talking about all this stuff, and he was like, these guys are cool, let me go talk with these guys. And the first ever interaction I really had with him was when I misinterpreted his name, like after we were doing our laps. I said, hey, Glennon, because for some reason I thought I heard someone say Glennon, and then he responded with, first off, my name is Glenn, second of all, I'm on my fourth lap. And I was like, damn it. but who would have thought that he would then become a friend of ours? Because he started hanging out with us more. We started talking about Marvel. He started like saying, all right, you're this, you're this, you're this. And whatever whatever topic we were talking about, and like just doing impressions. And then, but it wasn't until that time when Mortal Kombat 11 was announced that I feel like that was the day that we started to actually become a friend group.
Yeah.
And it was mainly just me, Ruben, and Glenn at the time. But then Montana was like, oh yeah, this is cool. And then moved on.
Yeah.
And then Landon was also supposed to be a part of the group. But again, like he was far away. Like he was unassociated with us for the majority of the time since, he was in wrestling and we didn't really have that many classes with him. And, no, excuse me. Then I think afterwards we started getting close. We started playing video games with each other as well. Outside of that, like Minecraft mainly. And I think then I met Montana, and I was like, damn it, I'm sitting next to the fucking extroverted asshole. Not much of an asshole, but just like this weirdo. And I had to deal with him talking to me. And then I think Montana had told me personally, oh, I could tell that you were dealing with some shit, so I wanted to talk to you just so that you can, get your hopes up. It's like, oh yeah, I know this, and we have a lot of things in common, yada yada yada. In basically a computer class, basically. And I didn't become friends with Montana until he was like, I'll help you out film with your music video, because that's what we were supposed to do. We were supposed to film a music video, and he was like, I forgot my code for my locker, so it's like, oh yeah, I'll just put it in my locker and then we'll just go over to your house. And it's like, really? It's just not like that? It's like, yeah, why not? It's like, okay, I guess we're friends now. And because basically the minute you go to my house, that's where you're like, okay, now you're more of a friend that you were in a school, basically, because you're stepping into territory that's personal to me, basically. That's basically where it comes down to. If you come over to my house more than once, you're basically a friend. And then Landon and I didn't really necessarily become good friends until later on in high school, after when the C virus became a thing, and we did hybrid, so I got to talk with Landon a lot more, since he and I were the only ones that actually knew each other, while everyone was just going around and shit, and everyone was mostly doing it online. And I'm surprised Montana didn't do it hybrid.
No, he was forced to stay online.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And hold on, let me take a swig of water first. Shut up, watch. And I think, yeah, from there, we then I think we then started to form the Discord chat that, like, at the time it was just me, you, Glenn, and Montana at the time. Like, just the four of us, and then we added Landon later.
Yeah, the very last second when before the virus began.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and basically we were the majority of the time. Also, Montana was way more active in Discord back then, unlike now. So we were basically playing Minecraft and other stuff like almost all the time, like I don't want to say every day, but like occasionally I would say. And it was mainly just Minecraft. I don't know if there's any other game, but there was Brawlhalla, but that was more like later on. And then Jordan started to I started to have them meet Jordan because of the Halloween parties, and then over time, Jordan was like, let's just make a group chat with all of us, and then from that on, we then had a chat at the time called it was like Friends and Games group chat or some shit like that, where it was like all of us, and then I
think this Friends and Games. The Friends and Games chat was happening way before. Like, I'm pretty sure it happened after, like, we even graduated.
Either after or I don't remember. Like,
yeah, because Jordan was not involved until like what's my Corona apocalypse times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So again, my memory is a bit janky, so I don't know 110% about like everything, but I at least know the order of everything. And like I said, it was. But then comes Tom at graduation, because at the time, I knew Tom. Tom and I went to the exact same schools, like from elementary school, middle school, and high school. We went to the exact same school. We knew each other, but we never associated. Like we only became like we just knew that we existed basically. And it wasn't until graduation when I started talking to him more, because our last names are the same letter. So we basically got to sit next to each other and just talk with each other because of Pokemon Go, oddly enough. Yes, Pokemon Go in 2022. And yeah, and then we started talking to each other more, and I started, having him involved with the rest of the group a little bit, and it wasn't until like later on where it was like, hey, you want to join the Diverse Society? Sure. And then he just joined in.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, 2024, literally almost a year since I met Lulu. So, oddly enough, the whole thing about Lulu is that I met her because I heard stories about my friends meeting each other, like meeting new people online through Overwatch, because of either like Twitch links or like just, Jordan using his Overwatch Riz just to like get some random girls online, and to a certain extent that it actually worked. And then I was playing Overwatch by myself, and then I saw a link to a Twitch chat, and I was just like, you know what? Why not? I don't give two shits anymore. I'll just check this out. And it was a really, really, really small like Twitch thing. So the odds of that happening is like ones in millions, like a chance of being able to meet her. And then I was just, I was cracking jokes, because when you're behind a screen, you're a completely different person than when you are in person. So, and I started showing up to the chats a little bit more, because I was just like, this is kind of cool. And then it wasn't until like she and I started talking in Discord, where we started to oddly enough trauma dump, and then that's when we started to bond.
Mm-hmm.
And then she then discovered our channel. She started watching every single one of our videos, and then she's like, I want to be a part of your group. And I'm like, you're like states away from us. You still want to be a part of it? Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes, let me be in the group. And then, I remember this specifically. We were in the film festival where that was the first time I ever really introduced her to anybody else, because I kept her secret because duh. Mm-hmm. And I told you about it, and you were like, no, I don't want her to be in the group. She's all the way in Texas. It would be very weird. And then at first it was like, all right, doesn't matter. And then I'm not entirely sure how her name came up to the group, but somehow her name got brought up into the group. It's like, well, we need a female, so let's just why not? Why not bring her in? She likes a lot of the same stuff that we do. And no, it was because of Overwatch. I was like, oh yeah, she wants to hang out with us.
Play a game of Overwatch.
Overwatch, and then over time, like, then she was like, just add her into the group. I think it was like Jordan was like, just add her to the group. And then from there on, she then became a member, and let's just say I'll personally say this. If we never added Lulu, I'm pretty sure we would be in a totally different scenario, and we probably wouldn't have a female in the group, to be honest with you. And basically, in a couple of weeks, it will be officially 1 year since I've known Lulu. But other than that, that's pretty much everybody in the group. Yep, and oh man, that was a lot. And but now I'm gonna pass it over to Ruben as I sip almost its entire jug of water.
Okay, now while Mateo was telling his story, I actually wrote down a list of each person in order just so that I know I'm correct. So the first person I met, surprisingly, was Tom. I think I mentioned this earlier, but it was 6th grade. It was like the second half of 6th grade because around that time I got my schedule changed because I had to get my grades up or whatever, and I was involved in a study skills class, which to all the people who don't have that, it's basically just a class where you do homework. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I sat.
I had that too, by the way. I had that too.
Yeah. So, anyways, I sat next to Tom, and I think we were mainly talking about Terraria because around that time, like, I was addicted to the game Terraria, and Tom was playing Terraria on his phone.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and like, he would like roast me because I wouldn't beat this one certain boss. He was like, "Bro, you're using the wrong items. You're supposed to use that for this boss." And I was like,
"Yep,
whoops."
That's Tom."
Yeah, and I think that was like our main topic, honestly. Other than that, he was a pretty smart dude, so I exploited him for my homework. No, I'm just joking.
Wow, you and Glenn have a lot of in common.
No, I'm just joking. He helped me with some stuff, but it was only for like 6 months since, like I said, got my schedule changed, so I didn't know him that much. Oh yeah, I should also keep in mind by the time I moved in middle school, or in elementary school. I know some will find this hard to believe, but I hung out with the hoodlum kids for later in like elementary school, and then later on I separated from them, not because there was drama. I just simply got bored of them. So for a bit I was sort of a loner, but I didn't really mind it, to be honest. Yeah, that was Tom's thing. Then it was Mateo. He said it. We were involved in a science project with this other dude, but he was sick, so he had to leave early. So it was just me and him. And like I said this the third time, you put two introverts together in a group project for school. It's something like, I like this idea. Oh yeah, let's do that. And we did that, and we're just like, okay, we got this project done. All right, now let's
back to our seats.
Yeah, back to our seats. In 7th grade, again, Mateo has already said this, but we met this one dude, and that one dude, introduced me more to Mateo, and then me and him started talking more. Geometry Dash, Dashie, Pokemon.
Oh, and the bottle flip.
Oh yeah,
that was when it was popular.
Yeah, bottle flipping, because that was big at the time. Yeah, it was bottle flipping, and I think we also talked about Mortal Kombat once at the time.
Oh yeah.
You're like, oh, you played MKX? I was like, oh yeah, I played that before. Yeah, that was just one Mortal Kombat topic. And then our social studies class, that's when we were starting to get to know each other a lot more, since I basically sat next to him. And as he mentioned, from his perspective, I was trying to be a class clown. In my perspective, I don't know what the fuck I was doing. Not even I know why I did the stuff I did. But whatever. It's either part of my quirky personality or I have an undiagnosed disorder. Either way, at least it gives me a good character. Mm-hmm. Anyways, what's the minute? So yeah, I was just cracking jokes or whatever, because around the time, humor was my thing at the time. So yeah, I would just say random jokes or whatever, whether it's to him or in front of the whole class, and then everyone just embarrasses me for it.
Boo, get off the stage.
Yeah. And then from there, we have some casual conversations here and there. We started to talk more about Dashie. And yeah, I think that's about it. And then what's my towards high school, you know, I knew I was comfortable with this dude, so and we had like nearly the same amount of classes. So yeah, we were basically just like partners for a majority of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, from there, still friends even to this day, even today, right now.
I think.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, that's Mateo's story. Next up was Jordan, because at eighth grade he invited me to his party. And, I at the time I didn't really get invited to like anything. I was just like, sure, I'll do it, I guess. And I met Jordan over there, but me and him didn't really talk. We're at Sky's Inn, by the way. That was the party. We didn't really talk to each other, but yeah, he was there. Um, but then the next year of Mateo's Halloween party, I started to get to know Jordan a bit more. And the first thing I see, like Mateo's like, oh yeah, by the way, Jordan's upstairs. I go upstairs, and Jordan's just like locked in his game. And I'm pretty sure that game was Roblox, by the way. I don't know why he was locked into that of all things. It was an Undertale game, by the way. Um, oh yeah. Me and him started getting to know each other more. We watched those YouTube meme compilations or whatever, which yeah, I think like me and him were just like laughing overnight.
Oh yeah, and that was like the moment with like the pug mask.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure in his perspective
Yeah.
that was.
Yeah, and that was my first sleepover, by the way, as well, which was crazy. Um, but yeah, over time, like whether it's like a party or like a rare hangout at Mateo's place, I got to talk to Jordan more, and I was like, oh, he's a pretty funny dude. Uh, and yeah, that's still the case to this day. Next up, Landon. Landon, I met on the first day of high school. I was in a study skills class, but Mateo wasn't in it with me this time. Um, so, anyways, I sat down on my seat, and like Landon, he walks up to me, holds his hand, like, "Hi, I'm Landon," and I shake his hand, and that was it. I didn't really question it though. Um, and the next day, I realized he was in my PE class, and I think like, and still to this day, Landon will just laugh about like literally anything. So like, it's like, okay, I could say basically any joke, and this dude's gonna laugh at my joke. And that was also the case in study skills as well, because study skills class, that was like when me and him were like, good friends. Like, I know in Mateo's perspective, he didn't really care about him, but for me, I pretty much sat next to Landon like pretty much every day in study skills class. So that's how like me and him like got along with each other over time.
Hold on 1 second. There was one other thing that me and Ruben bonded over was because we were also in speech therapy like sessions as well.
Yeah,
And that was like another thing that we bonded over as well.
Mm-hmm, yeah. But yeah,
Mainly in high school. Mainly in high school.
Landon moved to wrestling, but I still got to see him during study skills. I think like the one moment I knew I was comfortable with him was before Christmas break. I actually brought my Nintendo Switch to school, and we were playing Smash Bros. On the Switch, which was pretty funny. Oh wait, no, it wasn't Christmas break. It was the last day of school actually. But yeah, I was like at the time like, oh yeah, I'm comfortable with this dude, and we were playing Smash for like an hour. And then over time, I think I was like introducing him to like Mateo and all that, because like I pretty much brought him over like during lunch or whatever, which was pretty cool. I think that's like when Mateo was like, you think Landon's pretty cool for this group? And like I was like, yeah, he's pretty cool. He's a pretty fun dude.
Because everyone knew Landon, it was just like, yeah, why isn't he not in the group?
Yeah. But that was later, because Glenn's my next one. We first met each other in PE class when we were doing golf, and we had to get in groups of 4. And at the time, I was obsessed with this one YouTuber named Eth Goes Boom, who does voices for FNAF characters. And one of the running gags of that channel is Bonnie says "fawa" instead of 4.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got in groups of 4 in that golf class, I was like, all right, so we have a group of fawa, and Glenn was in my group, and he just looked at me like, I know damn well you did not just say that. And like I was like, oh, so he knows about Eth Goes Boom then. I think FNAF was like our main topic, like we bonded over.
Yeah.
And yeah, Marvel and Mortal Kombat, which I'll soon get into in a bit. After that, what's it? In intro to media or computer class, I would like say the word "fawa" every now and then because I would say that instead of the word "for." So, for an example, all right, so I have to put this image on layer "fawa," and Glenn just turned back to me like, "Nah, I know damn well you did not just say that again." And I just found that so funny that like, oh, I know at least one person in this entire school who knows about the "fawa" joke. So my first funny moment was when I took a piece of paper and I wrote "fawa" over and over on that piece of paper. And I just left it on his desk, and he saw that paper. He stood up and was like, "Really, dude?" uh, yeah. And then like, because in our high school, you take intro to media for a bit and then health class the next semester, or vice versa, depending.
Yeah, it was vice versa. So he started intermediate, and then health, and then I had health, then intermediate. But I had Montana in both classes. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And actually, my first impression of Montana was when we it was like this assignment. I know I'm like interrupting him, but with Montana, it was supposed to be like, oh, have these two items that like work together in like like peanut butter and jelly or milk and cookies. And then, and oddly enough, because of course it happened, I got bonded with Montana, and that was when he was started just chatting, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up. And then, of course, then we got into intermediate, and then it became a complete 180, and then we became friends. But anyways, moving on.
Anyways, once I moved over to a health class, I sat next to Glenn, and then like we were talking about, Marvel, Mortal Kombat, Five Nights at Freddy's as well, and we also had the same PE class. So like after health class, we would walk to the gym.
Yeah, whatever. and I was with the same. I was in the same PE class.
Mm-hmm, yeah, so like pretty much every day, me and Glenn would like walk to PE class like almost every single day, and
meet up with me and then go from there.
Yeah, and then from there for his PE class. And then occasionally at lunch, like he would walk by our table and he's like, "Hello, people that I for some reason know." And then we just like welcome him in our table. He could eat with us. And I was like, Glenn's pretty cool. And like I knew that was the case when he texted me on like I think it was Discord at the time. He was like, "Yo, do you have Minecraft?" Like this was like after 9th grade, so like summer after 9th grade. I was like, "Yeah, I have Minecraft, but I have the Java edition, so I can't play with you." But yeah, that was pretty much it. And over time, as of right now, it's basically just me and him playing video games. Or rather, we're just playing video games. We're in the Discord chat. So that's pretty much the case now. Next dude, Montana. Mateo's story is a bit different. I met Montana in PE class, probably because everyone and their grandma knew who Montana was in that class. My first impression of him, though, was he had to leave early because he was sick. And at our school, we had golf carts so that the staff can get around the school faster. And as Montana was leaving, surprisingly enough, this was Glenn and Landon. They were singing the Jurassic Park theme song as Montana was going away. So
I remember that.
As Montana's going away in his golf cart, Landon and Glenn are just like, "Nya, nya, 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 nya." And I was just like, why the fuck are you guys singing the Jurassic Park theme? Yeah, that's how like I knew about this Montana guy.
Oh, I remember one other thing that was pretty funny. Involving Montana. Montana just came into PE class with like some like blue like marker.
Oh boy, I remember this story.
Like all over his hand, and then it was all 5 of us, the whole group, in that one moment. And I guess you could technically count that as like another moment where it solidified the group. And I was like, what is that? Is that marker? And I don't know if Glenn was the one that said it, but he said it out loud. He said, "He jacked off a Smurf," and then we all fucking died of laughing. Especially Landon. He was like almost on the floor.
Yeah, that one was crazy. Absolutely. Yeah. what's my I was comfortable talking to Montana probably because he's comfortable talking to anyone. So I don't remember what. I mean, it was probably just PE class. Oh yeah, it's because Smash Bros came out around the time. Me and him were talking about that a lot. Um, but what's my eventually like the later half when Mateo had Intro to Media, he had a music video which we had to do at the end of Intro to Media. Montana offered to help Mateo. And I was like, I guess I'll show up as well. I could probably help with some stuff as well. So that's when I was like, oh yeah, Montana's helping us with this projects. Naturally, we talk to each other over time.
Oh my god, no! I think I know what follows up after that. The hot sauce thing that we did.
Oh yeah, that.
Because he just spent I think either he spent the night or showed up the next day. It's something around that, and then we
spent the night, I believe.
Like he just showed up. He stayed almost the whole day at my house. Like first, oh my god, the voice crack. First day of getting to know him and going to my house. He spends the night, and then I think he hit him too.
No, that was after like 9th grade, like last day of school.
You're right.
Because Montana just showed up for the music video thing.
Yeah.
I don't think he actually spent the night.
Whatever the case may be, and then we recorded like a hot sauce video, which I mean, it's probably still floating around, but
yeah, I don't know. It's old video.
It's an old video.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, that whole thing, I was like, Montana's pretty cool. Like I said, I was comfortable with him since he's comfortable with basically anyone. And then the C virus happened. And I remember he was losing his absolute mind because I'm not going to say the reason why, but he pretty much had to stay at his house. He could not leave.
When an extrovert is staying in his house the entire time, he becomes insane.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah, and I think like at quarantine, I was like helping him get over his sanity by like, joining us to play Dauntless. This is one of my favorite moments with Montana. I told him to download Dauntless, and I didn't even know it's possible. When he was downloading it, the progress was going backwards. I was like, I didn't even know that's possible.
And it almost destroyed his entire laptop.
Yeah. That was a crazy moment. Like, what the hell?
But yeah, during the pandemic, we were basically just talking over Discord almost all the time. And if we didn't, like, if we just stopped talking with each other after that, we probably wouldn't even be in this group at all. Yeah. But like we were basically just like hanging out on Discord almost all the time and just talking and chatting and just going on and like just keeping ourselves entertained. And going through online classes and hoping that we at least get some of the classes with each other so that way we don't have to worry about dealing with other people.
Yeah, and I knew I was comfortable with this dude when during a Zoom meeting, I could actually talk in the private rooms. I'm sure most of you remember those times.
Yep.
When the teachers would put you in a private room, and I know damn well it's something like, okay, so for the first one I got this. Is anyone there? Something like that.
Yep.
But
unless you had someone with you that you knew.
Yeah. And Montana and this other person, I'm not gonna say her name, but I mean I knew her, I didn't really talk to her. But this group I was like, okay, I can actually talk in this group and probably get help with this shit. But yeah. And of course, quarantine was around the time, everyone was sad, everyone was depressed, so naturally everyone had to vent to each other. So, around that time, me and Montana said, stuff that, we cannot say on this chat, but that's how I knew. I was like, okay, Montana's a good person.
We had to keep each other entertained some way, shape, or form during those times.
Yeah, especially him, since he was basically locked in.
He would pretty much call me like almost every week, with like a video chat almost.
Mm-hmm. All right. Lastly, Lulu, like he said, was met. Oh yeah, this new person wanted to join the group. Yeah, and then we play Overwatch together, and because I wanted to make a first impression. Okay, now keep in mind, this was way after high school, right? Naturally, over high school, you basically have, like, no rules, do whatever the fuck you want. So, and this still happens to me this day, my personality changes basically every month. And I am an absolutely spontaneous character that I don't even know how to describe myself. So naturally, I say the most out of pocket things known to mankind. And when Lulu joined, I was like, okay, I need to make a good first impression. I need to say stuff that is not offensive in any way, not weird. And when you say the most out of pocket shit for the past 2 years, that is basically an impossible task. So for the entire session, I was probably just speaking in like Overwatch callouts, like, "Oh, watch out, Widow is up there," or "Mercy is going for the res," or "Can I get the nano boost?" Other than that, I don't even remember what I said. Either that, or I was just silent the whole time.
And a common theme with this group is that every time there's a new member, they slowly become like us over time
Yeah,
and get in with our humor.
yeah,
I mean, I'm the more resilient one out of everybody in this group, so.
yeah. I agree. But yeah, that happened. She joined. I was just like, okay, because at the time I was going through something I'm not going to talk about in this chat. But ever since the Google Doc incident, I was comfortable with her. I was comfortable laughing with her. Yeah, that was basically it.
She basically became like a therapy member at that point.
Yeah, I agree. That was at the time I was like, okay, I can trust you. At first, I hated you with all my guts, but I like you now. I'm pretty sure I literally said that to her in a chat, like in a call with her privately. I was like, Lulu, I used to fucking hate you with all my guts, but I like you now.
And take that as high praise.
Yeah, take that as a high praise.
And right now, Glenn, for some reason, hates her. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. He probably likes her. I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyway.
I think he likes.
Yeah. Lulu, if you're watching this, I love you.
Same.
Platonically.
Platonically.
Anyways, but yeah, that was that. And then, yeah, that was basically it.
And that
That's everyone.
leads us to right now, where we're just still making skits, still hanging out, almost nearly every day, and for some reason never getting tired of it, which is.
Yeah. And also going back to Mateo, ever since I guess Tom, but no, he wasn't really a good friend at the time. Yeah, Mateo, back we first met since like 7th grade, up to right now, he is basically the same person. I've changed at least 20 times.
Yeah. Like pretty much.
But yeah, that's it. That's the Diverse Society lore.
Indeed, that is the lore. It's wild. If any of the group members are watching this, just want to say, love you all the bits.
Platonically.
Yep.
Except one of you. No, I'm just messing. But yes, platonically.
Yes. Because that's weird. All right, everyone, and that's going to do it for today's podcast. Episode 11, we will be doing... Take it away, Ruben.
So we're going to be doing... just to, move away from the group, we'll just go on to another media franchise. In this case, it'll be Sonic. We're going to be ranking Sonic characters just on how cool they are, pretty much.
Yep.
No, like... it's kind of like the FNAF one, but at least, just a little bit more rules. I'm not the biggest Sonic fan, keep in mind. Mateo is, but I'm sure it'll be fun either way, just to rank them.
Yeah, and also there's a lot of characters in there that I literally have no clue who they are, or like I know where they came from. I just never played the games. I mean, I just love Sonic because of just the soundtrack. The soundtracks are awesome in Sonic games. Come at me if you think otherwise. But other than that, that's what we're gonna be doing here. But now we're finally into the double digits into these podcasts. So I'm Mateo,
and I'm Ruben,
and we'll see you guys next time.